I write the common denominator once, and it's all of them, x and x plus 1 and x minus 1. Since these are binomials, you have to write all of them down. So all of these are the common denominator. Now, what am I going to multiply the 2 by? So if I compare this denominator to this denominator, it's missing the x plus 1 and the x minus 1. This means that's what I have to multiply the 2 by. So x plus 1 and x minus 1 minus, if I compare this denominator to this denominator, it has the x plus 1, but it doesn't have the x and the x minus 1. That means that's what I have to multiply the top by. So 3x. I don't even have to put, let me just give me 1 second here. I don't need the brackets around the x. So 3x and x minus 1 plus this here. If you compare it to this, it's missing the x and x plus 1. That means you have to multiply by the top by x and x plus 1. Which gives me, so now there's a bit of foiling there. So that's 2 brackets. If you foil this, this is the difference of squares. So if you want to take a shortcut and say that's x squared minus 1, because when you foil it, the middle stuff is going to cancel. And this here will be minus 3x, x minus 1. And sorry, I forgot to write the x there. So x and x plus 1. So I'm just gonna go back here. This I'm gonna just distribute the negative 3x inside. So negative 3x squared plus 3x. So that's a sign change of negative 3x times negative 1. Very easy to make mistakes on this kind of questions, because they're long. You miss it, you miss a little sign there or there, it costs you the question. So just make sure you take your time and go through this thoroughly. X plus x. So when you distribute this into here and there, that's what you get. We still have the bottom, which is x. Sorry, this is just all condensed in a small space, x minus 1, brackets. Now, I think I'm just gonna rewrite this here. Should organize myself a little bit better. The 2, I'm gonna rewrite that again. I need the space x minus 3 over x plus 3 plus x plus 3 over 3 minus x plus 36 over x squared minus 9. And I'm just gonna erase it from here because we definitely need the space. And therefore now I'm gonna have to distribute that there as well. So I'm gonna get 2x squared minus 2. These, I could start adding these. So minus 3x squared plus x squared is minus 2x squared. And 3x plus x is plus 4x. Okay. Should have that in blue so it's matches. It's over. Always keep the bottom in factored form. Okay, don't foil and all of that. The bottom, just always keep it in factored form. And now I keep on going. So I have 2x minus 2x squared. It's gone. So I have basically, if I want to write it in degree order, is 4x minus 2 on top over x plus 1 x minus 1. Sorry, that's a minus there. And that's your final answer. Sometimes it's a good idea to factor the top. It's factorable. So if you factor it, you're gonna get 2, and then you'll have 2x minus 1. Just you want to check if there's anything from the top and the bottom that could cancel, because if that's the case, you have to reduce it still. But here it doesn't, so it doesn't matter if you leave the answer this way or that way. Both of them are accepted. Let's go to the next question. And the next question is I'm gonna just put in here. So in this kind of questions here, if the bottom, you could factor stuff, even on the top, always factor. That's the first step you do, okay? So I'm just gonna write it underneath here. So x minus 3 over x plus 3 plus x plus 3. You know, I have a feeling I'm gonna get the x minus 3x plus 3 there, and this is written as 3 minus x. So what I'm gonna do, just to make the match, I'm gonna change this, and I'm gonna write that in red. I'm gonna change this to minus. Okay, so I'm gonna change this to minus right here. So change to minus, because I'm switching this to x minus 3, and you're allowed to do that. If it's a negative sign, you switch them around, you change the sign before. If it's a plus, it doesn't matter. X plus 3 or 3 plus x is the same, but x minus 3 and 3 minus x is not the same. All right, and we'll just continue with that. And then this part right here is 36, and you have to factor this into x minus 3, x plus 3, which equals, and I'm just gonna carry that into here. Now I'm gonna do common denominator. And the common denominator is just x plus 3, x minus 3, because that's basically here the common denominator, since we have these two right there. So anyways, so I compare again. If I compare this to this, I know I'm missing the x minus 3, so that's what I'm gonna multiply the top. That x minus 3 is gonna be multiplied by x minus 3, plus, if I compare this to this, it's missing the x plus 3, so that's what I have to multiply this top. So it's gonna be x plus 3, x plus 3. And if I compare this to this, there's nothing missing, so just keep the 36. You don't multiply the 36 by anything. And now I'm gonna start foiling. So the top will give me x squared minus 3x, and then minus 3x again is gonna be minus 6x. Negative 3 times negative 3 plus 9. Take your time if you want to foil it and go through the whole process. Plus, since it's a plus here, you don't have to put a brackets after when you start foiling, but if it's negative, you must put up brackets after, because the negative is going to be a sign changer. Later, you have to change all the signs, but if it's a plus, you don't have to do that. And this is going to foil into x squared plus 6x plus 9. So again, I'm just doing this a bit faster. Plus 36 all over x plus 3, x minus 3, which equals, now you start collecting like terms. So x squared plus x squared is 2x squared. Negative 6x plus 6x, that will cancel. And 9 plus 9 is 18. Or 36 plus 9 is 45, 45 plus 9 is 54. So that's plus 54 all over x plus 3, x minus 3. That's your final answer. The next one is example number 3. So the first thing, again, always when you're adding and subtracting rational expressions, always factor. That's the first thing you do, top and bottom. So I have 2 minus x here. Over here, the greatest common factor is x, so I'm gonna get x plus 2 plus x squared over, this factors into x plus 2, x plus 2. The common denominator will be x and x plus 2 squared. Because we have 2 of them here, both of them are common denominator. I know there's 1 here, and you could argue that why don't I have just x plus 2 here? Because we have 2 here, we have to say x plus 2 squared is the common denominator, okay, or the lowest common denominator. Now, if I compare this to this, definitely I'm missing an x plus 2 because of the square here. So I'm missing an x plus 2. That's what I'm going to multiply this top by. So 2 minus x times x plus 2 plus, if I compare this to this, it has the x plus 2 squared, which both of these, but it's missing the x. So therefore, I have to multiply this top by x, and that makes it x cubed, which equals, I'm going to start foiling this. I'm going to get, it's the difference of squares again, but I'll go through it. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is plus 4. Negative x times x is negative x squared. Negative x times positive 2 is negative 2x. Still plus x cubed all over x and x plus 2 squared. Now, as I said, this and this will cancel. So now I'm just going to write in degree order. So x cubed minus x squared plus 4 all over x over x plus 2 squared. And that's your final answer. I'm going to go to the last one. And I'm just going to erase stuff here I did here for that question that we ran out of room. So number 4, again, the usual. Here we have 1 over x. Sorry, I'm missing part of that equation. There's an x here. There's an x here. So now what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm just going to factor. So that's going to be 1 over x plus x over, that 2 factors out as a greatest common factor, and you get x plus 2 minus 2, and here x greatest common factor, and we're going to get x plus 2. The common denominator is going to be 2. We have x's, so x and also x plus 2 is the greatest common factor. Lowest common denominator. Now you start comparing. You compare this to this. It's missing the 2 and the x plus 2, so that's what you have to multiply the 1 by. So you'll end up with 2 and brackets x plus 2. Plus, if you compare this to this, it's missing the x, so that's what you have to multiply that x by is the 2. Sorry, it's missing the x, so you multiply the x by x, and you get x squared minus, if you compare this to this, it has the x and it has the x plus 2, it's missing the 2, that's what you have to multiply that by. So 2 times 2 is 4 equals 2x plus 4 plus x squared minus 4 all over 2x and x plus 2. The 4's would cancel here, and I have x squared in degree order plus 2x over 2x, x plus 2. And in this case, we have to take out the greatest common factor from the top, so x, and we get x plus 2 all over 2x, x plus 2. And as you see, the x plus 2 here on top and the bottom will cancel. Also, the x on top and x on the bottom will cancel. Lots of students, they say this equals 2. No, it doesn't. It's 1 over 2 because you have 1 left over when you reduce, so 1 over 2. This is your final answer.